to the aspiring entrepreneurs and the speaker, Rakshit, who has joined us today. I am Nazia from Startup India team at Invest India. Without further ado, we will begin with our session today. As you're aware, our Honorable Prime Minister announced 16th of January, the founding day of Startup India, as the National Startup Day. DPIIT, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, is organizing the Startup India Innovation Week from the 9th to 16th of January in order to commemorate and celebrate this momentous day. This week would celebrate the contributions and achievements of our entrepreneurs by hosting a couple of events throughout the week across the length and breadth of the country. This would be in collaboration with entrepreneurs, incubators, and other key ecosystem enablers. Today, we kickstart our first mentorship session of the MAARG Mentorship Series for budding entrepreneurs. It's a series of specially curated sessions for aspiring entrepreneurs and student entrepreneurs to capacitate and augment knowledge on the basics of entrepreneurship. This mentorship would be offered by some of our key industry experts on on various topics such as how they can build a solid business plan, how they can prepare a pitch deck, incorporate their companies, so on and so forth. Today's session is on a topic which is idea to execution, building a solid business plan by our honorable speaker today, Rakshit Kalyani. It will focus on providing guidance and insights on translating ideas into a solid business plan for a strong startup foundation. The format of the session would be such that the speaker would give you a entire walkthrough on the session for 50 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes we will be opening it to the participants for any questions. The questions can be typed in the chat and we will be taking these questions. Introducing our speaker, Rakshit Kalyani is an engineer-cum-entrepreneur with extensive industry expertise in enabling the growth across automotive aftermarket, edtech, and startup ecosystem. He has worked at multinational companies such as Mahindra Group, Simply Learn, CarZ, Think and Learn Limited, Strathern Strategic Consulting. He's also the co-founder of startups named uh, Dive in Adventures, a social entrepreneurship in the UK, and Cleantech Solutions, a software technology firm that has catered to the US market. He is currently the head of strategic partnerships Deshpande Startups and is involved in mentoring startups from edtech, automotive, and deep tech. He is also a very recognized mentor in various platforms, including MAARG Startup India platform. We welcome you, Rakshit. Over to you for today's session.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Nazi. Uh, Quickly, thanks a lot for giving my brief as well. I work at Deshpande Startups, and it's been 3 years in the startup ecosystem in India. Of course, I've worked a bit in the UK as well, setting up incubation centers across the region. Let me just take you through a video of what we do at Deshpande Startups so that everybody is aware of a bit about DS as well.
Startups have driven the economy for the last few decades and have revolutionized many industries. Most of these startups have raised the standard of living of the urban population. However, innovation and entrepreneurship are yet to make a mark on India's rural and semi-urban population.
I am a big believer in using innovation entrepreneurship for both the economic impact and the social impact. The tool of entrepreneurship is now well proved in solving problems of the people who have disposable income, both in India and the global markets. However, India does have 1 billion people in semi-urban and rural populations where the innovation and entrepreneurship have really not had that much impact. And the goal behind this large incubator that we have in Hubli is to really nurture and bring them all the tools that are available for entrepreneurship in other parts of the world to make sure that they have a big impact on the rural economy.
Deshpande Startups, a nonprofit initiative of Deshpande Foundation, was established in 2016 with the leadership and vision of Gururaj Deshpande. The primary objective of our initiative is to support student innovators, budding entrepreneurs, and founders to build solutions for rural and small-town communities in India. We are an ecosystem of knowledge, domain expertise, mentorship, funding, and more, and the one-stop service to validate, incubate, and scale startups.
Hi, I'm Priya from Hubballi, and we make organic reusable cloth diapers for babies, which can be used just like the disposable diapers. Thanks to Deshpande Startups, I'm housed here, and we have the manufacturing unit here. And every day, I meet a lot of people who help me and be what I am today.
Since 2016, we have supported and enabled 300 plus startups, of which 79% hail from small towns. The startups under our initiative have filed 115 plus patents and trademarks, commercialized 120 plus products, and have generated revenue of over 230 crores. Our startups have attracted funding worth 25 plus crores via grants and investments and have created 3,000 plus employment opportunities. We nurture our startups with a programmatic approach via the pre-incubation, incubation, and accelerator programs that focus on developing founder capabilities. We support entrepreneurs from rural areas, small towns, and metro cities by providing essential resources like consultation, mentor connects, prototyping and design of electronic systems, co-working spaces, and more to help grow their business to find solutions to problems of Bharat. At Deshpande Startups, we provide ample funding opportunities through grants, investments, and debt funds. We are an approved center for DST grants like Nidhi Prayas, Nidhi SSS, and Nidhi EIR, where startups can acquire up to 1 crore of financial support. India is finally at a stage where such successful ventures are experiencing rapid growth in their businesses focused on Bharat. We invite entrepreneurs, mentors, and investors focused on such markets to come along and engage with us. Be a part of Deshpande Startups, a living laboratory for entrepreneurs.
Well, yeah, the reason why I actually showcased you this particular video is we are actually based out of Hubli, which is a city, small town in Karnataka. In 2016, this was the vision of Dr. Deshpande, who wanted to actually set up something like this in a small town when the startup ecosystem did not even exist in metros. But then now you see that a lot of startups have come up. There are nearly around 1,17,000 plus startups that are registered under DPIIT. This is very good. We're also seeing the surge of number of startups actually increasing in tier 2 and tier 3 as well. And it's so fortunate that we are actually based off tier 2, tier 3, and we exactly know how this particular market looks like and what sort of support system that we need to build for tier 2, tier 3 entrepreneurs. In fact, that's what you were able to witness, and there's a beautiful facility which is created because of the Asian support. We nearly have around 6 acres of space dedicated only for innovation and entrepreneurship. And anybody who wishes to actually come with an idea and go out as a successful entrepreneur, here is a place for you. Of course, there are many incubation centers like this. Now we have nearly around 100 plus Atal incubation centers, which is supported by DST. NSTTB has been doing a great job. The Startup India team has been doing a great job. These are all some of the places where any founder who is starting up his idea should actually seek out for support. And there are a lot of good mentors who can actually handhold you and take your idea to a successful journey. I have certain questions before we go ahead with the next phase, where I would like to understand. I see that there are a lot of youngsters, particularly wanting to understand. The first question that comes to our mind is, since we are all actually, students or somebody who's just graduated, there will be always certain aspirations. The one question that is always haunting is, what after your degrees? What should I do? or where do I want to actually go? I mean, should I go for a job, or now that there's a lot of trend of starting up something of your own. There are a lot of initiatives which people are getting attracted towards startup India. So what needs to be done is a big question, right? So any questions? I mean, any thoughts on this? And if somebody wants to actually chat, you can feel free to write it on the chat so that we can quickly understand from your point of view what after your degrees, or what are your aspirations. Wonderful. I just saw that Raghuram has written that he wants to be an automotive startup founder. I see that Akhil has actually written that he has already 4 startups. Extremely interesting. Great. Quickly, most of the students, right, who are currently pursuing their studies, or somebody who has graduated, will always think about, these particular things in their mind. Somebody wants to do a business. Somebody wants to do their higher studies. They might want to go to abroad as well for education. It could be MS, MBA, and things like that. Somebody also wishes to become a startup employee, wants to be a founder. Of course, that's the current trend. I'm sure most of them who have joined this particular call, they all want to be the founders in one day, or they're already existing founders. Some people would like to actually join the corporate after the degrees. They want to work with an MNC company, and some of them might be interested to actually work for a government job, as a professor or a lecturer, and also some of them may actually prefer to become a consultant, solve problems of the industries, work as a freelancer. That is another trend that has picked up really well. A lot of them are actually earning handsome salaries by becoming freelancers, particularly in the IT industry. Uh, there's a lot of people who have interest and inclination towards research and development as well. Wants to do their PhDs, commercialize some of their research work and things like that. So but then what I see is that currently there are a lot of interests that are coming up for this predominant 3 things. That is, somebody wants to work for an MNC job because there's a lot of earning capability. The other side is actually somebody who's passionate of doing something, solving the problems. They would like to become co-founders in a startup or a founder. Or also since there are nearly around 1,17,000 plus startups, we see that number of employment has also increased. Nearly 10 lakh plus employment this startup ecosystem has actually generated now. So there is also a trend that the youngsters would like to actually now join for a startup, because they'll get hands-on experience, they understand the advanced technologies, and then eventually that will also build their career as well. Yes, of course, there were myths earlier that there would be no stability in the startup ecosystem world, but now we can see that there are a lot of opportunities, and I've seen many youngsters joining in startups and stayed with them for almost 3-4 years or more than 5 years as well, and they're getting handsome salaries as well, no doubt on that. And this has been the trend. But if somebody wants to actually just get out of the college, these numbers you should be very much aware of. This is of course a data which is of 2020 and 2021. But then if you see the surge in the numbers as well, looking at the current trend, there are nearly around 1,000 plus universities, nearly 45,000 colleges across India at the moment, and of course, nearly around 4 crore plus graduates actually come out of the college. Now, the number of job opportunities, imagine, MNC company can actually offer is very limited. And hence, there's a lot of, complexities of career growth, career prospects. So what can be done? So one few of the data that the same platform also provides is there, out of, all of these 4 crore students who are actually currently studying, uh, there is only like 50%, less than 50% of the people who are highly employable. So which is actually which is really tough as well for them to actually get a job as well. And we also see that there are 51% of actually females who are employable. Then this number is actually very interesting because we see that many women are actually picking up STEM programs and also IT related job opportunities. Of course, there are five cities that are going to be hiring maximum number of potential employable candidates, which ranges from Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Delhi. Of course, if you see this particular pattern as well, there are a number of startups which are in this particular states are also higher, and hence there's a lot of potential for somebody who wants to become an employee in a startup or also wants something to start of their own. It's a great time at the moment. Next 3 years, 3 to 5 years, it's going to be amazing journey in the startup ecosystem. Just before we start with this particular video, this particular video will actually give you an idea how an idea can evolve from a small problem. Just take a look at it, then we can have a debate or we can have a dialogue on this particular idea as well. So in this video, you can see that the farmer, in a traditional way, right? So whenever he wants to put the fertilizer to the farm, he carries this in his hand and then starts actually bending over and then starts dropping it. And the quantity is also measured from his hand, right? And it actually varies from plants to plants. Hence, you can see that the more the quantity, it may actually affect the plant growth. Also, it can actually, on the other hand, positively, it can increase the yield as well. But it's on a long term, the farm actually has a lot of side effects. Not just that, but also look at the major problem in this particular scenario is that the farmer has to bend over and he has to cover the whole land. So what happens is the farmer actually goes through a lot of back pain over a period of time, and this actually is a major problem which is unsolved at the moment, and many of the farmers are actually still following the same process, and which is actually very very dangerous. Hence, this particular problem is actually solved by adaptive agritic solutions, which is based off Belgium. What they did is they created a simple product, which is a sort of a bag carrying product, and it has a pipe which actually disperses this particular fertilizer, and it has a nozzle which controls this particular entire the fertilizer dispersion. So here the control of the whole fertilizer is possible as per the requirement, and the other side is also the time taken to put this fertilizer to the ground is also actually much faster, right? This is one small example that we can take as a simple thing, that it is just by observation of the existing problem, identify the right problem and give a right solution to it, And then you will see that these there are a lot of opportunities in the tier 2 and tier 3 market. There are many existing such problems where there's abundant opportunity for you to sell. And you can also see that this particular product is sold at 5,000 rupees or 6,000 rupees, and it's easily affordable for a farmer as well to implement this, right? And so this is one interesting study. I would also want you to actually take a look at this particular image and give us some let me know, what you see in this particular problem and what is the existing problem in this particular image. When we see this particular image, right, everybody thinks that there is water issue, right? Or the woman is actually carrying this particular water from place A to place B, right? And there are a lot of actually landscapes which are dry areas. It can be desert, it can be somewhere where there's sunny region, right? But then in reality, the women who are carrying this particular pot, yes, somebody, Raghuram mentioned that it's a long distance travel. Yes, of course. So you can see that women are actually carrying multiple quantity based pots on their head and traveling from one place to another place, which is a long distance. Yes, of course. But what happens, when they carry this particular pots on their head, they have to balance this out and also walk carefully, and they have to cover this particular distance in a very short period of time. And of course, the water requirement ranges from household to household based on the usage. But if you look at the women carrying this particular pots on their head, they tend to have a lot of back pain over a period of time, right? And this is completely ignored in many of the regions, and due to which the woman has to actually bear a lot of medical cost over a period of time. And spinal particularly is a big issue in India, particularly women. It's a long issue, and hence it is under ignored, I would say, to a large extent. And if you want to give a solution to this particular thing, what would it be, right? So do you think this particular solution is a great solution? To some extent, at least, it is allowing a woman to reduce the pots being carried on her head. She can use this particular trolley which can store water, and she can just roll it off from place to place. Of course, we've all thought of uh, you know uh, the solution, where we can actually put in water pipelines to the homes itself directly. As an entrepreneur, right, it is important to see that, can this particular problem be solved, not from the point of actually a huge investment, from a very limited investment, and can be used by the user or the customer, and is it really affordable for them as well, right? So it's a simple solution, and it could be effective. So this is one idea. Let's take another solution. You see, this is a MRI scan center, which is actually used by many of the patients. Wherein, now if you are given a scenario where, let's assume that you have a younger daughter or a younger son who's between the age of 8 to 7, or younger sister or younger brother who's between the same age. Now, if they are actually taken to this particular center, they would, how would they feel, right? So they would literally be scared, they would be upset, they would start crying, right? And because it looks alienated for them, it looks actually scary. So how do you actually make it more interesting for them to enter into this particular premise, right? So the thing is, it's a basic thing. When you actually put yourself in the shoes of a kid, you will realize that what you want in a place like this, right? So you need some cartoons, you need some interesting music which a student likes, you need some sort of coloring to the whole things, right? So that makes it more interesting. Now there's a big opportunity, right? In India, you don't see a kid-friendly MRI centers. Of course, a lot of kids are actually facing a lot of health issues at the moment, but most of the medical facilities that we have are not actually this friendly. So can we really make something which is actually customer centric and make it more experiential, and also get a better facilities for them? And of course, these problems are actually ignored, and there's a lot of opportunity for us to tap onto. uh, Let's actually look at another short video, which will also showcase you that how an idea can be observed, and how the problem statement can be observed, and how the solution can be provided.
So what we do is we interconnect solar home systems and we enable energy sharing between them, which is basically trading, and the customer chooses when they want to trade and when they don't. Instead of building large grids, we're proposing a decentralized structure where we start building grids bottom up.
The setup is quite simple. Any home that has solar panels and a battery can buy this special box, which connects them to another house with the same setup. The box allows the buying or selling of energy between the homes. But it gets better.
There is still a segment of the population that still can't afford to buy a solar home system. So instead of doing that, if they can just buy a small soul box, they can just buy energy when they need it. You fill up your soul box with money. As you keep using energy, it deducts money.
What this means is that all the boxes can connect to each other to form a microgrid. It's like a water tank of community energy that people can give to or take from. The beauty is that this microgrid can then connect to the adjacent village's microgrid, and the network becomes stronger and stronger.
There's a mimicking of nature here, isn't there? Like in the way that cells multiply and form something and strengthen. Yeah,
That's a great analogy. You have one solar home system, you interconnect with your neighbors, you make it 50. Slowly you interconnect villages. Once you've collected 100 villages, you can hook it up to the grid. You can sell to the grid. Forget buying from it. You become the primary energy generation source for the country. So the idea is we are like a swarm of bees or a swarm of fish that move together, pool in all our energies together to run bigger loads.
So this is a very interesting concept, right? So in particularly rural areas, right, we've been actually trying to push solar energy usage, and solar panels have become more and more expensive. Eventually, of course, the government is actually trying to give subsidies for adoption of this particular technology. But then, for a user, it might be very very difficult to purchase something, particularly for those guys whom it is actually unaffordable. But this is one solution, where they've created something called as a soul box, which is connected to the solar panels and the battery system. So where this particular solar panel actually collects the energy, stores it in the battery. The soul box actually divides this based on the usage of the electricity, and as and when they actually kind of recharge this particular unit. It's very similar to your mobile recharge, right? Use it, and you paid it upfront, and you can use it as per the required, and hence the money also gets deducted. This is a very interesting concept because it is affordable, it is sustainable, and anybody can actually use it. And as he said rightly, that you need not actually buy from the grid, but you can actually sell it to the grid once it is a connected sort of a system. And in future, in India particularly, this is one of the interesting concepts, that connected villages are going to play a major role. And one of the other areas, actually clean energy spaces, is this is going to be a very very interesting area. You can see that this problem existed, and somebody picked up this and said, can I really make it like a prepaid sort of a service or a postpaid sort of a service, and make use of the existing facility and use it. So this is a very interesting idea. If you look at all of these ideas, right, one
So what
common thing that we are able to see
we do
is that uh, so one common formula that we can see is that, even including the adaptive technology solution or the previous solutions, that we problem statement that we saw in the solution that we've offered, like the women carrying these pods, or MRI scan center, you can see that the biggest formula is that in order to identify the problems, you need to observe. And once you observe, you identify the problem. Many of times we actually beat around the bush and figure out that the problem statement is something else, like in the case of women carrying the pots, right? We all talked about actually traveling from one distance to another distance, one place to another place, which has to cover a long distance. The other thing is actually water could be the scarcity. And generally, when we are building a business, we tend to actually pick up a problem statement which is actually not the real problem, right? And here, it's very, very important to identify the right problem. And once you identify the right problem, you build a solution which is actually, cost effective. One of the best formulas is, most of the Nobel laureates also consider is having, building a solution which is actually cheaper, better, and faster. If you look at the previous solutions, right, the wheel that a woman was using as an alternative, it was not actually the best solution, but it was a better solution, but it was faster. The long distance could be covered in a short period of time when compared to existing traditional way of traveling. And it is also cheaper. It can be made at a very cost effective way, 500 rupees, or it ranges from a maximum of 1000 to 2000 rupees. When you go for mass manufacturing, it can be even reduced. Then if you're using recycled materials, it can be even made cheaper. Similarly, if you look at soul box as well, right, it did not ask you to actually put up a solar panel, then have a battery system, so which is actually expensive, right? Other than that, you just have a soul box which is actually costing you 500 rupees or 1000 rupees the max, and you start recharging it as and when you want, and just use the same existing infrastructure and utilize it for your reasons. And in fact, the solar system, the solar panels, stores a lot of energy. One home may not use the 100% energy that is stored. Hence, it is also affordable for an existing house who has this particular facility. They can sell this particular energy and make money out of it as well. So it's not the best solution, but at least it is trying to be cheaper, and it's a better one, and I can actually use this particular services much faster, right? Hence, this particular sort of business plans or business models actually always work, and they're all successful. You take a case study, put them through this particular model, and you will find that most of the ideas are actually very, very successful. In the whole journey, all you need is actually better mentors, particularly at the stage when you observe something and then want to figure out what is the right problem. It's important to have a mentor, and over a period of time also, while you're actually building your solution, curating this particular solution, finding out that this is a problem solution fit, you need mentors as well. And it's always good to have one, and try to gain knowledge of that particular area. Look at the insights, get a market research properly done, refer to relevant, accurate data platforms, not rely on the newspapers or blogs, because they are all actually individual perspectives and not the relevant data which the market speaks. So get that particular knowledge from the right sources, and also get an experience as well. Before you end up becoming an entrepreneur, you should have worked in a setup where you get hands-on experience. For example, I got an opportunity when I was actually working in a company where I particularly in Mahindra, right? I got an opportunity to work for. Of course, I was in a fleet operation expert. But then when we're taught to get an opportunity to sell the product, sell the franchisee models, create business models. Of course, it also helped me to interact with multiple individuals, where I got multiple perspectives and then realized that there's a different opportunities altogether. Also, when I went to UK, stayed there for my masters, worked with a consulting firm. I also got an opportunity to work in the restaurants and the retail shops, where I got to meet with a lot of people, understood their perspectives, what they want, what their needs are, and things like that. So that really puts up in a better position for you to really empathize with the customers whenever you are building a solution. It's very, very important. Of course, we talk a lot about IQ, EQ, or PQ, and SQ. IQ is intellectual quotient, PQ is physical quotient, EQ is emotional quotient, and SQ is spiritual quotient. These four are very, very predominant, important for a founder, particularly. Of course, most of the founders are intelligent, they are empathetic. Some of them actually are, but it's very, very, very important to have all of this. Of course, spiritual quotient comes over a period of time, but many of them have this at the very early stage. This is very, very important when you want to have clarity of what you want to do and where you want to head towards when you build a startup. This is the fundamental thing which most of the successful founders actually consider. And of course, you might have also went through this particular journey. So try to build a better solution using building a solution which is actually cheaper, better, and faster, and it will actually fit into. You don't have to worry about selling your product. And once you start actually making money, start scaling it, start sustaining the whole business, it'll actually eventually lead to success. To validate this, we'll also look at one more idea. It's a healthcare product. Let's actually take a look at it.
Hypothermia management can result in up to 42% reduction in neonatal mortality and morbidity. At Bempu, we have a vision to eradicate death from neonatal hypothermia globally. To achieve this, we have created TempWatch, the world's first continuous hypothermia monitoring bracelet for hospital and home use. It is a simple bracelet placed on the wrist of the baby and monitors the temperature continuously. It beeps and blinks an orange light when the baby is hypothermic. This timely alarm enables the parents to take immediate action and give KMC well before severe hypothermia or infection presenting as persistent hypothermia can cause injury or death. TempWatch is evaluated by UNICEF and CDC Atlanta with strong clinical evidence in 10 journal publications. It is proven to be accurate and its regular use helps babies gain more weight and makes parents practice more KMC. Due to its easy implementation and high potential to reduce neonatal mortality, TempWatch is adopted by UNICEF in multiple countries across the world. Its simple and universal design avoids the need of training and makes it highly acceptable by all health workers and families. TempWatch is used for thousands of newborns across multiple countries. It is globally recognized for its potential to save lives and eradicate newborn hypothermia.
You can see that this is a small wristband. Basically, hypothermia is a situation where if the baby's body temperature actually reduces to a certain level, it is prone to actually get affected by virus or bacteria or whatever outside bodies. And then it actually affects the health of the body, health of the baby as well, and it has actually caused a lot of deaths over a period of time. And this was actually ignored. Generally, what happens is a new, particularly somebody in the communities where the whole family actually starts working. Whenever a newborn baby is born, they cannot actually identify this, and if they are away at least 5 meters from them, there's no way they can actually save this particular baby, and the healthcare system is also not so close by, so that so hence there's a lot of big challenge, and losing a baby is a pain. So this is a solution which they provided. It's not a smart watch or something like that. It's a simple solution. It's a wristband which has two features, which what it does is basically it identifies the temperature of the body, and if it goes certain level, it just starts blinking. It has a small LED inside it and a small speaker which actually beeps. It just gives a sound, and it can be actually in and around 10 meters of radius, and it only costs around 50 to 100 rupees. That's a simple device, and this is actually very very effective because as you said, as I said right earlier, it's the product that is cheaper, better, and faster. Now in this situation, the product actually costs not even more than 100 rupees, and it actually does its function. It only identifies the temperature of the baby, and then it indicates to the nearby parent saying that my body temperature is actually reducing, and immediately the mother care is provided. The mother's body temperature is transferred to baby, and then the temperature actually gets maintained. So this is how the whole process looks like, and it's actually much better, right? It's not actually the best solution. You need not actually have a thermal facility in your house which can keep the body temperature and the climate at that particular time. And also it acts much faster, right? The action can be taken up immediately by the mother or the parent, whoever is nearby. So this is one simple idea, and you can also see that in this case, this whole product was actually sold across the world. So once there is a better solution, there is a better fit of the customer, then the product will actually get sold immediately. And in this case, it can also be CSR model as well. Like it could be social impact space, and wherein the potential, like UNICEF has actually invested in this, and then they have actually taken up this product to Africa and regions where this is very much in need. In India, there is still this is still a big problem, and we've actually we don't have effective solutions yet, and there's still a lot of opportunity in this particular space. Anybody can actually still understand and build better products. In India, particularly, we've been importing a lot of medical devices, and it's the right time to kind of build our own product and make it more effective. Of course, there are a lot of bad reasons to start a company, but only one good reason is legitimate reason is to change the world. And if a founder is actually deciding to change something, and he can do a number of things, and for that, formalized, cheaper, better, and faster, and that's a best business model that anybody can actually provide you. Of course, there are a lot of emerging trends in the sector. If you look at these three sectors, predominantly agri, health, and non-metro, are going to be the next big things. In the agri space, also, how do we increase the yield of the farm? How do we generate, other revenue streams for the farmer so that his livelihood is improved? Effective irrigation technologies. How can we work on that? Soil health is another area because of multiple crops and multiple pesticides and fertilizers that we're using. How do we actually now switch to newer methods is something that we need to understand from the soil health. And also, of course, as we're moving towards a tech, digital world, how do we adopt new tech is also important in the agri-tech space. So now we can see that drone farming is something that is evolving. Autonomous farming machines are actually coming up. We also actually have now vertical farming as another alternative options. Water management is something very, very important. Soil health, and now we are also seeing companies who are working on the blockchain and AI as well, image processing and things like that. These are predominant areas. If somebody wants to actually pick up problem statements, these are some of the emerging challenges which you can work around. And also, of course, in the health side, healthcare currently in India is also not that affordable. Of course, when compared to other countries, we're still better, but we need to really, make it more and more cost effective. And in first place, reduce these particular health hazards. Then in the healthcare space also, there is a lot of opportunities for blockchain technologies to be worked on. Virtual reality is another one, where particularly for operating certain intense cases, this is important. Also, to educate the patients, parents, or the family members, the virtual reality is also playing a bigger role. Variables and sensors are also predominantly playing a bigger role for preventive measures. Cloud computing is another one which is playing a great role in health space, and nanotechnology as well for curing certain diseases. Of course, in the non-metro, there are a lot of areas, particularly if you look at connectivity issues, because of which now we have Redbus and some of the best Uber, Ola sort of ideas which are coming up. Transportation is another one. Of course, we have a lot of government buses facilities across the states, but then there's still actually a lot of people facing, particularly in the rural space, where they are still relying on unsafe and traditional sort of transportation facilities, which are still actually slow and not so effective. We still have unemployment as a bigger issue because many of them actually don't go for higher studies. They actually end up doing BA, BSc, BCom, for example, some of them have not done BTech or MTech, or they've not done their MBA, things like that, and they've not got the employment as well because they don't come from that particular technology background. So opportunities are huge in this particular space. Can we really make them employable, and how can we make it? Then safety is another issue. Infrastructure we don't have, so how do we make sustainable infrastructures and cost-effective ones? Of course, now the construction has become too expensive to build a 30-40 site, and a house of 2 BHK costs nearly around 30 lakhs to 40 lakhs. Can we really reduce it? Can we really use 3D printing technology and then build something in a very fast way? Service delivery, yes, of course, we don't have, Zomato delivering it in small towns or even in villages. And we really have around that.
Rakshit, I'll just
Yeah,
come here for once.
sure,
Yeah, Rakshit, in 5 minutes, we can start taking the questions as well from the
sure.
participants.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And of course, environmental problems. So there are a lot of pollution which is happening. But then, of course, if you look at the rural and small town areas, right, a lot of pesticides being used. There are a lot of sugarcane industries which are there. A lot of small industries, SMEs who are actually emitting, pollution is happening. But then, what is the solution for it? There is still a lot of opportunity there. So there are a lot of areas that individuals can actually pick up, the founders can actually really work on, and we can actually help. Incubation centers particularly, we currently have around 900 incubation centers across the region, which is the highest. And you can actually reach out to these centers for help, and we would be happy to kind of support you on this particular thing. Any questions? Any thoughts? Happy to receive that.
Thank you, Rakshit. I think we have received some of the questions. So I'll just, take these questions and tell you the relevant ones mostly. So we have Shraddha Pandhare who has asked how to find the right way to start after a degree, causing the raising market and industry needs skilled people. What about us?
Sorry, I lost the last part. What was that?
Yeah, so basically, I think Shraddha is asking how what is the right way to start after one completes their education, because the market and the industry needs a lot of skilled people. So, what about them? How do they navigate and pursue their entrepreneurial aspirations?
Yeah. I think the first thing is, when do you want to start, right? So, if the best time I would say to start your own firm is when you are actually studying, because you have less risk because you currently studying and want to gain the knowledge, and then later on actually jump into working in a company or starting up your own. You don't have to wait till then. So we actually do this. So generally, in the first year, what you do is get exposure as much as possible. Go to industries, visit them, get a problem statement, start working on this particular problem statement in the second year. Second year is where you start going deeper in your domain, and then start picking up that particular space as your expertise area. Once you start actually working on this in the second year, is the third year is where you start actually putting it in the market. You see whether there are customers to pay for this particular product or not. And when you actually start selling this particular product, you will gain a lot of experience, you will gain a lot of customer insights. And that's where once you by the time you come to the fourth year, or by the time you graduate, you realize that there's huge potential for me to pick up this opportunity and make more money, right? As an entrepreneur, it is always about making money, capturing an opportunity, and creating a new market, or creating bigger opportunities for yourself and for the community, right? And so I would suggest you start something when you are early, when you are in the college, and once you graduate, right? Of course, since you're actually getting a lot of domain expertise, I would say you can still continue to experiment. But if you are having actually dependencies, your family is actually dependent on your earning, then I would suggest you to actually work for a company, get some experience, and then actually when you are actually working in the company itself, you can still spare some time, because generally we all know that we all work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Unlike IT industries. But then yes, the rest of the time you still have opportunities to experiment for yourself. There are a lot of pre-incubation programs that incubation centers do actually run, and you can be part of those pre-incubation programs where they'll help you through all of this particular process, where you can validate whether your idea can be really making money. Then in that case, you can take a higher risk and jump into this particular market and start actually experimenting. And once you've validated really right way, then of course there's a lot of opportunity for you to make money. But then I would say it's a great time is actually when you are in the college itself, and then post that, yes, of course, the door is open for you. Whenever you want, you can still pick it up. And there's no now it has become more interdisciplinary, so you don't have to worry whether if I'm from a science background, whether I'm from a management background, you still have opportunities. We talk about this particular concept called trilogy for entrepreneurship, where any founding team should have somebody as a product expert, somebody should be a finance expert, and somebody should be a marketing expert. So if this particular three wheels are actually there in the company, it's very sure that the company is going to evolve. The same, you can pick up any case studies, including Infosys. They had a product guys, they had marketing guys, they had finance guys. So in the similar fashion, you take any other companies, it's all the same case. Even in Thomas Alva Edison's case, also, he was a very good marketeer, but the product guy was actually Tesla. So same case. So most of the startups, they have to be successful. These three people should always be there at the center of the founding team.
We can move to the next question. So while Rakshit is also answering questions, requesting all the participants, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat. We will be taking it. So next we're having from Prasanna Rao. We are a Startup India funded startup. We are looking for go-to-market mentors or experts.
Mhm.
We are nrihelpline.com, first tech solution dedicated to non-resident Indian. So I just quickly like to come here and mention to you about MAARG platform. which should be a great platform for you to explore mentors and experts. So, MAARG is a national mentorship platform by Startup India DPIIT. It's an AI based platform that enables startup entrepreneurs to connect with expert mentors. You can put in your requirement as to what kind of mentor you're looking at, which area do you require your support, and the platform will provide you the most relevant mentors that you can connect with. It's a virtual platform, so startups and entrepreneurs across length and breadth of the country can access this platform. Again, it's a platform for DPIT recognized startups. So please to ensure that you are recognized, before accessing the platform. We have a host of mentors here, including Rakshit as one of our mentors, and you can engage with these mentors in a both one-on-one mentorship mode, or you can also access the group sessions that we keep conducting from time and on. Rakshit, if you would want to add anything
I
here,
think
otherwise, I'll move to the
that,
next question.
yeah, I think the Mark platform is definitely one of the best platforms. We have many mentors from across the India, and of course, if somebody is not able to reach out to Nazia, can actually help you out to connect with the relevant mentors. Not just that, you reach out to incubation centers in your region itself so that they can help you out, and they'll connect you to Startup India team as well.
Thanks. Jayant Ghosh, thanks for organizing this event. A question to Rakshit. Do you allow already incubated startups in the MVP stage for acceleration and raising funds in the pre seed stage? Is deep tech, AI plus AR, VR for mental health a sector that is of interest?
Yes, we do support. Of course, we are sector agnostic, and I would say, particularly if you want to do something in deep tech, reach out to NASCOM Deep Tech. Now they've created a separate wing to build this particular, prototypes, or if you need any support for developing your electronic related things, we are definitely there to support you out. Drop an email, or there's a number on this particular screen as well, so you can drop a message with your pitch deck, so we can take a look at it and then help you out. Of course, we are a center for government grants as well. If you are building any prototypes at the early stage, particularly during the MVP phase, we can give maybe triple S under Startup India scheme, where up to 1 crore you can actually get the funding. The first tranche would be 50 lakhs based on your milestone achievement. The next 50 lakhs can be dispersed at a equity model or a debt model. SISF is also another option, where for particularly MVP stage startups you can avail this. If you're aged less than 2 years, you can avail this particular scheme. For a Series A or a pre-seed stage, we do invest as Deshpande Startups as well, from our own funds and angel and VC network. You can make use of this particular facilities as well. And most of the incubation centers also have this particular facility. Now, there is no dearth of actually funds. Feel free to apply for any incubation center. They would be helping out for financial things, and that's the beauty of this particular ecosystem that is created because of the government of India's support, extensive support. I would say we now have a environment where we can take risks freely and then start experimenting and really create some impact in the space. And AI,
We have
plus AR/VR is a great space, high tech space. There's also an abundant talent available in this space currently in metro cities.
Thank you, Rakshit. We have another question from Prashant Kulshrestha. I am Prashant and started manufacturing business, greenmetals.com, focused on build to other precision components. Wanted to get into highly specialized components across the industries like aero, marine, ONG, auto, etc. How can we get the guidance to pitch to these sectors? So I'll just quickly add on to this, and then Rakshit can add on. So we have a specially curated session on the 12th of January as part of these Innovation Week series. That would be focused, more focused on how you can prepare a pitch deck and how you can raise, investments from investors. So please do join in that particular session. It will be on the same time from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Anything you would like to add to this question? Otherwise, we can move to the next one.
Yeah, so I think this is a space where India is also looking out for. There are very few companies. High precision and high volume manufacturing is going to be the key thing, and there's also a lot of opportunities for investment as well. Many bigger VC firms are also investing millions of dollars. I think recently one of the success stories was Acus. Acus is actually venturing. They're already into aerospace component manufacturing. Their clients are, Airbus and Boeing. If you look at them, they have ventured into now in this particular space of high precision and high volume manufacturing. So it's good to be in this space, but then of course I would say reach out to incubation centers which are part of Pune network, uh, because there is a huge ecosystem existing and they would actually help you out. Please reach out to me, Prashant, or on my email. I will connect you to some of the contact details as well.
Thank you. We have Chandrakant Verma who has asked, what type of startups can a civil engineering student start? Please explain.
Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities. Sustainable construction materials, and then not just this, but also into interior designing and landscaping. There are existing, drone technologies also who are doing, surveying, and this is actually reducing your manual methods of actually surveying. So using lidar and photogrammetry, they've been able to solve this. Not just this, but also interior designing is another space where you can actually venture into. There are a lot of AR and VR based. Of course, for customer feel and look, you can also venture into something called as experience centers for customers to look at what quality of tiles they need
Our
to put.
last two, three questions there.
Then Also, there are certain 3D printing technologies as well, materials that go on construction, and I think the biggest opportunity is in the sustainable materials itself. I would say there's a company called as Carbon Craft, which collects carbon from the industries, which is emitted, and then they convert this particular carbon into handcrafted tiles. And these are some of the ideas that a civil engineer can actually pick up and then take it ahead. Even I think there's a company called Snaptrude. He was an electronics engineer, but he worked with civil companies, and then they convert these 2D drawings into 3D structures, and they do it very quickly. There are a lot of softwares that are actually developed now. Like there's a company called Last Innovations. They do this. They help in actually renovating the existing old buildings, and they can do it without even taking the measurements, going physically to the site, and not necessary to go to the site every now and then. So you get all of these informations in once you visit, you get all of this information on your system, and you can start planning for the renovations as well.
All right, so we'll be taking two more questions from the chat before we close for today's session. Abhimanyu Dayan has asked, how can a founder source a salary to pay his bills while working on a startup in the initial stages?
So initial stages, ESOPs is the best option for your employees, and it's all about belief system, right? At the very early stage, particularly at the idea stage, your co-founders also believe on your idea, and they also believe that there's a lot of opportunities for them over a period of time. So it's good to give them ESOPs, or if they are actually at the co-founder level, give them equity in the company. Initially, you can't expect salaries in your companies. That's one thing. Second thing is, if you have actually grown a bit, you're already making early revenue. You can also, because you're getting some grants or initial investments from the VC or angel, you can also pay them if they're high tech background, and they're expecting salaries, or they have dependency on their individual. So but then at the any startup, right, at the early stage, it's all about belief in the whole idea, and they would actually accept for equity, because they'll also believe that they're going to make money for a period of time. And ESOPs are the best options for any employee, and they would be excited as well.
Thank you. We have Raghuram Shivakarthike. if we are an automotive startup raising funds for developing our prototype, we are currently in ideation stage. What are the things we need to focus on to raise funding successfully?
So initially, if it is an automotive startup, if you are a SaaS product, it's easier to get. If it is it's a physical product that you're building, hardware product, we need to actually look at prototyping this particular thing and then pitching it to relevant ecosystems like Pune, as I said, and certain players as well. At the idea stage, it is a little difficult, unless and until you have some POC existing. But then you now have actually grants from Nidhi Prayas scheme, where you can get funds from 5,000 rupees to 10 lakh rupees, where you can convert this idea to a prototype and then start actually pitching it to VCs or angel investors. I've seen a lot of companies in the automotive space getting a lot of investments. Like there was this company called Autorocks. They built software solutions to bring in unorganized service centers. Like for example, you see these small shops, tire shops, or repair services shops, to bring them on board and give them better quality education on the components they use, right? So they build this whole ecosystem. They have a software solution as well as they'll educate on them getting the right products, quality products at a better margin, and that has really picked up. The other side, there are a lot of products which are trying to improve the emission at the exhaust level, and they've also got a lot of funding as well. And generally, these fundings come from the automotive industry itself, and they would be your Series B or Series C level. Reach out to angel investors, and Pune, Maharashtra, or Bangalore is the right market to actually pitch this particular idea, and Delhi as well to some extent.
Thank you, Rakshit. We have one last question from Vinay Ashok. Do you conduct any course sessions for budding entrepreneurs about funding operations? So, Vinay, this week, as we have mentioned, is a innovation week, and we are running a couple of mentorship sessions under MAARG Mentorship Series. So this is the first of the sessions, and we have these lined up for the entire week till 16th of January. So please, join in these sessions. We believe that this would be most relevant and beneficial for you, and we'll be covering on different aspects which are critical for any budding entrepreneur, including that of building a business plan and a pitch deck, how you can raise investments, so on and so forth. The time remains the same, 11 a.m. till 12 p.m. So just tune on to our social media handles to receive more information and details on it. Apart from this, like I've already mentioned, we also have the MAARC portal that you can access to connect with mentors who can guide through your entrepreneurial journey. I think we have another question in the chat, so we'll be just closing post this. I've raised the initial seed from MP government under seed funding scheme as I am in third tier. Where can I approach to potential investors? So again, Dikshant, would request you to please join in to our session on 12th. That would be focusing on raising investments from investors. All right, then I think we can close for today's session. Before we do so, I would want to extend my heartful gratitude to our distinguished speaker today for sharing your invaluable experience and insights to this session. I believe the participants today, which includes the aspiring entrepreneurs, have greatly benefited in terms of understanding how they can start on from to building a solid business plan. A special thank you to the budding entrepreneurs as well who has joined us to today's session. Your enthusiasm and eagerness to learn are the driving force behind our shared journey towards success. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Nazia and Startup India team, and wish you all the best, all the budding entrepreneurs. Thank you.